B-side, the B-side, oh, the B-side, the B-side, yeah.
Y'all want to hear a little Stranger Things?
Hey everybody, this is Nine with the B-side. I'm here with Chris, also known as What's So Not, and congratulations on this new album, because people seem to just be going nuts for it.
Thank you.
I talked to my son that I was going to interview you, and he just like lost his mind.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he had it. He's 20, coming up on
Okay.
20, but he's also.
You're like that old? That's crazy.
I've got a 28-year-old,
No
6
way.
kids all the
No
way down to
way.
3.
All right.
Yeah.
Doing well for yourself.
Thank you. I have a wonderful wife. But he had some really specific questions for me. He's also an electronic musician.
Cool.
So what kind of setup do you use for recording?
It's pretty simple for the most part. I was on tour for about 6 years straight, so I had to have everything that I would create had to be able to be portable on my back. So I just had a laptop, like a little Korg, MIDI controller, and then a bunch of soft synths in the box. And then I'd also have like an Apollo and just a shitty direct Sennheiser mic, so I could record vocals, run them through different processing in the box, and turn them into guitar-sounding things and interesting sort of solos and textures and stuff like that. And then the rest just with plugins, Simplant, Silence. I use a bunch of the Soundtoy stuff. Yeah, a whole lot of cool shit. I just bought an MS-20 though, which I'm really excited about. I worked on the last song on my album, Us, using that, and it's been really fun to play with some analog gear. But it's very hard because I'll have it in a studio that I only go to for like 2 weeks a year, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just moving too much.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, now you mentioned turning them into the guitar sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One thing I really noticed was you had sort of a Billie Holiday quality to, you know, she could make that horn sound, her voice become a horn. And I
Yeah.
noticed that you did that with a lot of the artists that you worked with. You sort of created this instrument more than the vocal cord. Why is that important for you?
I think it's fun to play around with, to take something that's perceived to be in a way, quite commonly perceived to be a certain way, and then to really throw a spanner in the works on that and adjust it and flip it. A lot of the guitar parts you would hear on the record are actually my voice run through guitar processing.
Nice.
And it was really cool to like lay down ideas like that for a top line and then go to an insane vocalist like, you know, Daniel Johns or Steve Lukather from Toto and be like, hey, I'm thinking something like this, let's see where we can go with it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And speaking of Toto, I thought that was really great, bringing somebody from a completely different era and genre and updating them so much. Have you heard the Bruce Springsteen, Tom Morello duo album that they put out?
I haven't, but I actually reworked a drum solo from like Dave Matthews Band when I was in high school, and made that like my end of year project, was like a solo from that, and then into I think it was like Amiri One Thing or something, like this cool like samba kind of pattern with guitarists and stuff playing.
Right. Yeah, so that's what that reminded me of, that sort of marriage of an older and a newer thing.
Nice.
What was the experience like for you working with someone?
It was crazy. Like I worked with the whole band. Like they all came into this studio in LA, and they'd never worked with a dance music guy before. It was really interesting and fun and exciting, and everyone was just like vibing on this whole like, wow, this makes no sense, but it's so exciting and fun to do.
And I'll tell you honestly, that's what I thought when I saw who it was featuring. I mean, that doesn't seem like it's in a jive at all, but it was really great.
Awesome.
How did they feel coming out of it?
Oh, amazing. They loved it, and like I spoke to them for such a long time after on email, just talking about it, just sending them different demos and versions. Lucas actually sent me like a 3-page all caps lock email, like when I sent the final version. He was just so excited about it. And what's even crazier is that his son, Trevor, I met through this whole process of working with them, and now Trevor tours around the world with me doing this live show.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's
That's
really
cool.
tight. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I know I don't want to take up too much of your time. What's next for you though? What sort of plans do you have coming up for music collaborations?
I'm getting back into writing like just now. You know, I put a lot in that album, worked on it. There was probably 100 or so demos that I refined down to like the 12 album songs. And I just did a session with San Holo again, who was one of the album features. Just did a session with Oliver Tree. Been doing some stuff with Ferg and Tovlo and just a whole lot of people. Just kind of like jumping in the room, jamming out, and coming up with some interesting things. So you never know what's going to come out there. Like, it's a matter of like really feeling something so passionately, you put the time into it to see it all the way through.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, everybody, that's B-side. Peace out.
Laying on the floor in the doorway, looking at these pictures, nothing left to say. We were meant to grow old, now these feelings take hold. Are we ever gonna be okay again?